Is it recorded? Okay. Hey y'all. I know. Where have I been? I've had a lot of medical problems, so I haven't been able to record, but I'm not gonna be here long. I just wanted to say this really quick fast. Chloe Bailey. How do I even say this? Because I really just want to say this really fast. Similar to a video I did on, this is going to be similar to the video that I did on WAP, when WAP had originally came out and everybody had all of this shit to say. You know, everybody got something to say now because, you know, people feel like Chloe is, quote unquote, as people are saying, doing too much. She's doing this, she's doing that. Two things I want to make very clear. Number one, Chloe is a young woman. She is in her early 20s. And pretty much her entire life, she has been connected with her sister, to her sister, making music, making rounds, all of that other stuff, right? She is now in her early 20s. She is a young woman. She is trying to find herself. And what really irks me about the talk around Chloe Bailey is, first of all, because we'll get to the second part, but first of all, is the fact that women, for some reason, never get the fucking chance to really, honestly, and truly express themselves. I don't want to say that. Publicly, I'll say that. Publicly, women aren't allowed to explore their sexuality without people coming back on them and calling them all types of names. She is 20 something. She's in her young 20s. And if everybody wants to act like a girl her age isn't doing stuff that's like, isn't doing the same things that she's doing. Now, obviously, it might not be to the same level because people know who she is. But if you're telling me right now that if you go on an average 20-something-year-old's page, that you're not gonna see them with short dresses on, them kind of showing their ass a little bit, them showing a little bit of skin, you're full of shit. I'm very much so annoyed that, like I said, similar to Meg, that Chloe is not allowed to figure shit the fuck out. It's very much so annoying because I'm very much so confused. Because if we go back to the 90s, let's talk about the 90s for a second, because I love how people love to idolize the 90s, and I feel like put a certain gloss over the 90s and music in particular in a way that really erases a lot of shit that was going on. So a lot of the people that are hyped up, and not to say that in the 90s a lot of good music wasn't made, because I'm a 90s baby, I understand. Brandy, Aaliyah, Monica, fucking Destiny's Child, all of this stuff. Are we gonna sit here and act like these kids weren't 14, 15, 16, talking about grown-ass people, fucking grown-ass people topics, that that they weren't talking about being in relationships, they weren't talking about sex? Is that what we're gonna act like? Monica was 12 years old singing songs that if she was 12 years old singing now, she would have absolutely no fucking business singing at all. Right? But because the internet wasn't around, they was allowed to have that grace, right? To go through everything, to go through the woes and being in the entertainment industry and being young and all of that other shit. And these are kids that were 14, 15, 16 at the time. Chloe is a grown ass woman. Now y'all may still look at her like she's a kid because we've seen her since she was a kid, but Chloe's a grown ass woman. So if she wants to get on her fucking TikTok and throw it the hell back, that's her business. As she gets older, if she wants to continue to do that, then that's her fucking business. But as she gets older, maybe she'll realize that that's not something that she wants to do. But I don't feel like it's fair for everybody on Twitter to sit up there and act like they don't have a 20-something-year-old niece, sister, or wasn't 20-something-year-olds themselves acting like that. That's that, right? And so that gets me moving on to the point about demographics. And this is the most important part that I want to make so clear, because I said the fucking same thing about WAP. Not everybody, a lot of y'all, okay? A lot of y'all, and I'm not gonna call out no names, but a lot of y'all who have so much to say about the way Chloe is moving, y'all are not even in her intended demographic. Let me get this right. Ungodly Hour, an amazing album, a fucking amazing album. It really deserved album of the year as far as I'm concerned, right? And a lot of people like that album. I'm talking about in a lot of age ranges, people like that album. People that were a little bit younger because you had to do it like that. People in their early 20s did. People in my age range, that would be the mid 20s, and people in their early 30s really liked that album too, right? But I want to make something very clear, and I said this on Twitter just now. Just because some of y'all really liked Ungodly Hour, that does not mean that you were her intended demographic. That doesn't mean that just because you are in your early 30s and you thoroughly enjoyed Ungodly Hour, that does not mean that you were the intended demographic for that project. The intended demographic for that project was probably people in their fucking age range, maybe a little bit higher. I guarantee you the intended demographic was not for people who are in their late 20s and up. But you just so happen to like that album. So now, because you are in your late 20s or early 30s and you really enjoyed Ungodly Hour, you now expect that everything that Chloe does moving forward is going to fit that mold for you. And that's not how this shit goes. They made an album that everybody, a good across the age range spectrum, seemed to like. But you still have to remember that they're still young women. Halle, I believe, is like 19 or 20, right? Chloe is somewhere 21, 22, 23, somewhere around there. That's who they make music for. They make music for themselves and for people in their age demographic and maybe a little bit above and maybe a little bit less. So the songs that Chloe is coming out with now, her intended demographic, I bet you 10 times out of 10, is not somebody probably like next year, right? For me, next year, I'm going to probably technically be like in my late 20s next year. I'm probably not her intended demographic. Same way my mom is in her 40s. I'm pretty sure Chloe and Halle's intended demographic is not my mom's age. I'm pretty sure it's not anybody in their 30s. That's not their intended demographic. Now, if they grab you and they pull you, amazing. But you're not who they make music for. So I find it sometimes a little ridiculous that I see people within that age group who have so much to fucking say. Granted, you can have your own opinion. But to try to make it seem like, oh, well, this is just absolutely ridiculous. What happened to the Ungodly Hour? Nothing. Nothing happened. Ungodly Hour is still there for you to go back and check. But just because this round and this type of music that she's making is not for you, it's okay, because guess what? It was never supposed to be for you. The same way how I said about WAP. Y'all can have all of y'all problems with WAP, and it could be valid or not. But you also got to remember that WAP was not intended for an older audience. It was not. So as far as I'm concerned, a lot of people's opinions, once you hit a certain age about certain music, it's not that it's valid, but it's kind of not to a degree because it wasn't for you. You can still have your opinion, but you also have to remember that it's not intended for you. Now, the Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, the Silk Sonic album, I give way more lenience to people, to whatever people have to say who's like maybe 25 and up about that album, because that album is catered and targeted towards that audience. So what y'all say, y'all opinion really for the most part do kind of matter, because that's who they trying to grab in. But when you're in your late 20s and you're in your early 30s and your early 40s and you have so much vitriol behind what the fuck Chloe is doing, when you're not her intended demographic, to me, it's a waste of everybody's time, including yours, to sit on the internet and complain about it, because who cares? It's not for you. You don't like it? Awesome. You're not supposed to. It's pretty much what it comes down to. You're not supposed to like Have Mercy. You're not supposed to like the little thing that she put out on TikTok. Listen to what I just said. To the thing she put out on TikTok. TikTok grabs everybody, but it's not intended for everybody. So there's gonna be things on there that, as an older person that's a little bit older, that might be in their late 20s, early 30s, early 40s, you obviously might not get. But you wanna know why? Because it wasn't fucking intended for you to get. It's just that you just so happen to get it and you just so happen to like it. But the company TikTok is not going to move around what my mom and them think. TikTok and them ain't going to even move around what I think. TikTok and them, that company moves on what my little sister in them likes, what my little sister in them does. And I, as an older person, I just have to catch up with it. Catch up or get the fuck off. And that's how I feel about Chloe. Y'all need to either catch up or get the fuck off the train. But sitting on the internet and constantly picking and prodding at a young woman who is in the fucking spotlight, has so much pressure on her, and is trying to pretty much make her feel bad for exploring not only her sexuality, but the sound that she makes. Y'all think that Ungodly Hour is just all Chloe, that's everything she wanted to do? That's what y'all think? That was a Chloe and Halle situation. So I'm pretty sure on that project, although there are a lot of good songs, I'm pretty sure Chloe compromised on a lot of shit that she wanted to do. She wanted to do. So now she's doing exactly what she wants to do, and y'all are telling her that she's wrong. How the hell is she wrong for doing what she wants to do? Just because it don't fit into y'all mode of what y'all quote unquote knew her as? That's bullshit, and it's full of shit. And the fact of the matter is, we have seen so many women come through this industry and change. When Beyonce first came into this industry with Destiny's Child, she was already acting like she a little grown, little something. Dangerously in Love come out, she's still acting a little grown. Look at the evolution of Beyonce from Dangerously in Love to fucking Lemonade. Y'all did the same thing to Beyonce when she dropped Self-Titled. She dropped Self-Titled and then dropped Lemonade. It's also called range. It's called range, bitch. I can do this, but I can also do this if I wanted to. And maybe Chloe's just in a spot where she's like, the last 2-3 albums, I did this sound, right? And I really like this sound. But now I want to do this sound. And it kind of sort of reminds me of a documentary I watched on Mariah Carey a long time ago. And how Mariah talked about, in the beginning of her career, how she was doing, all of these ballads and stuff like that. But at the core, Mariah loved hip hop. That was her shit. She loved hip hop. She loved rap. So as time went on, she started to lean more into that, way more into the hip hop aspect of it, having rappers and stuff like that on her shit, which I'm pretty sure her label was not fucking happy with. But it's called evolution, and it's called trying different things. And as far as I'm concerned, y'all gonna leave fucking Chloe the fuck alone, especially when it's not for you. Have your opinion, please do. But just know that in all reality, some of y'all opinions don't fucking matter because it's not for you. Damn, some of y'all just gotta fucking understand that y'all are at a certain age and there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. Sit in the fact that you are not in the MTV demographic no more. Sit in the fact that BET is not for you. So many people come, especially, and I'm just talking about some of the YouTubers that I watch. Oh, well, in the early 2000s this, in the early 2000s that, in the 90s is in the 90s that. Well, we're not there anymore. We're here. So the shows that you are watching, yes, I don't give a fuck about none of these damn award shows because I don't care about no Shawn Mendes. No, Camila Cabello. I don't give a fuck about half these kids. But I don't sit up there and hate watch it and go the fuck off and say, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible to me because it's not for my age demographic. That's why it's bad to me. To me. Let the girl fucking live. Jesus, y'all get on my damn nerves.